Do you remember Wingdings? It was basically emojis for old people. Unlike emojis, Wingdings is just a font, so they're still technically letters, but they just look completely different. This means it's completely possible to code with them. Obviously, it's impossible to read unless you somehow memorized each symbol. I decided to make Flappy Bird since I never finished my version of it when I first started game dev. The first thing I did when I started Godot was I made the code font Wingdings. Then I decided to make a character. Oh, yeah. So I added a character body and then I added a script. I opened up my script editor. Ew! And it was even worse than I thought. Godot usually comes with a basic layout of a script, but I couldn't remember where everything was, so I just deleted it all. The first thing I added to my character was gravity. Basically, I just made him fall down faster over time. Then I added a jump button, which was a huge relief because I could actually read what I was doing. Then I had to make my player jump when I pressed jump. Something I didn't consider before starting this was having to remember all the built-in functions off of the top of my head. Thankfully, I've made enough games at this point where I know almost all of the necessities. Now my player works fine, I just need an environment. So I made my player able to detect a pillar. I made it detect an area instead of a body on accident, and I'm so glad that I caught it early because this was going to be one of the hardest bugs to find. If my character enters that body, I will die. All it does right now is just delete my character. It's actually easier to make the pillars move instead of the player. So I made the pillars move horizontally, and then I gave the pillars a random height. And then I made it spawn back at a certain position whenever they pass outside of the player's view. Now it's almost done. It kind of plays like Flappy Bird right now. All I need to do is make a title screen in the game, add more pillars, and add a score, which is kind of a lot. But now I want to make it pretty. I'm so tired of looking at Wingdings, so I wanted to make some art real quick. For my player, I made him a king, so he can be the Wingding King. I made a very rough sketch of a king, then I made a rough draft, then I made a half draft, and then I tried to stylize him. After some time, I was making him more and more blocky, and I liked the look. And this is what I ended up with. The pillars took a lot longer than I expected. I wanted a stone-like pattern. I made a few brick patterns, and I got the colors that I wanted. Then I rounded the stones a little bit, and I added some shading. So I finally settled on this, and I think it looks decent. When I added them in, I didn't like the gray background. So then I went back and I made a checkered background for the scene. And in my opinion, it was starting to look pretty good. Then I knew I had to add a score. I also added an area between these pillars, so whenever my player passes through this area, the global score goes up by 1. Then I added an end screen when you lose, and it displayed the global score. Now, I wasn't resetting the global score, so if you play it again, then it would keep on adding to your last score. So to fix the score issue, I made the score reset to 0 whenever the player spawns in. After this, I thought I was completely done with the game, but I forgot something that was super important. I forgot to put a score up on the top. So I made a label for the top, and I made it display the global score. When I was trying to do this, I was editing it in the wrong script. I was doing this for about a minute until I realized. So finally, I had to make a script for the main scene, then use autocorrect to find where my label was, then I changed the label text to display the global score. So this is the final game. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. I also just made a Discord, so if you would like to see some behind the scenes, share some of your own stuff, or just chat, then the link will be down in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one.